Good evening, I'm Camden Cohn, and our sports ticker is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Earlier today, Husker football defensive coordinator Tony White spoke to the media about a variety of different topics. One of those topics was when the coaches prep for the season opener.
Coach says? Usually it's like 10 days out. You know, that again, football moniker-wise, it's like 10 days out. You don't want to get the game plan too stale. You know, and there's a lot of things we're correcting on the grass right now. But in terms of coaching-wise, we're going through. We did it once in the spring, and then with all the additions and stuff, you know, we just started doing it again. So our process is correct in terms of how we're going to present, how we're going to see things, how we want to attack things like that. So we've been doing that, but. You never want to start too early. It's a delicate balance, right? You never want to start too early, but you definitely want to use the time to your advantage.
More from Coach White in just a little bit. Nebraska baseball coach Will Bolt received a contract extension today. The new 5-year deal runs through the 2029 season, with Bolt receiving an annual salary of $500,000. 8 of Nebraska's 19 NCAA tournament appearances have come with Bolt as a player or member of the coaching staff. In other baseball news, Coach Bolt announced 3 new pieces to the staff. Derek Roy has been hired as Director of Player Development, Garrett Plumley is the new strength coach, and Cole Evans is the new team graduate manager. And finally, the Big Ten soccer preseason poll came out today, with the Huskers picked to finish 4th in the conference behind UCLA, Penn State, and Michigan State. Nebraska also had a trio of players selected to the Players to Watch list. Sarah Weber, Florence Belzeal, and Jordan Zaid are a part of this list. Our sports ticker is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Call a timeout. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Hour 1 of Sports Nightly is up next, right here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
Heinrich gonna step in back, little G belly action. There's a man wide open. It's Jalen Lloyd. The throw, he makes a catch. 30, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Nebraska.
Nebraska serving specialist Kennedy sends it over Vasquez Gomez. Perfect pass, set it up. Fairbanks diving, take Laney Choboy. Bumps it left Nebraska. Harper and nearly drops. Free ball back. Oh, a block back by Becca, and that nearly drops. And a free ball finally over, block back by Becca, and it does. Becca Alec, she's putting on a blocking clinic. They can't get it over.
Bryce Williams puts his head down, cut off by good defense by Mbako. Now up top it comes to Mast. Mast dribbles once, gives it back to Williams, shoots a 3 on the way. Got it again! Another 3. Williams on fire.
Jazz Shelley, who has electrified this crowd. She'll take a 28-footer. You betcha! Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? She ends the first quarter in triple style.
Ball's at a strike here on Gabe Swanson, the pitch. Hit pretty well towards left center field. Going back on it is Graves. Graves at the wall, and it's gone again! Swanson's gone deep again! Gabe with his second solo shot of the game.
Billy swings and crushes this one to the moon. Left center and gone. No doubt on that one. 3-1 Nebraska.
Here are your hosts, Greg Sharpe and Jessica Coody on the Huskers Radio Network.
Thank you and good evening. We're so glad you chose to spend a little bit of time with us here tonight as we talk a little Husker sports in the next couple of hours. We have another practice report coming your way in a little bit, and a little bit more of a peek behind the curtain of Saturday's scrimmage. Tony White met with the media today, and he wasn't overly thrilled with some of the tackling he saw from the Big Red defense, the Black Shirts, on Saturday. We'll hear more from Tony coming up here in just a couple of minutes. We'll also, Jess had a chance to catch up with Jeudy, who, by all accounts, has really made nice strides in the offseason and should add another big body of depth along that defensive line. We'll have that for you coming up in hour 2. And also, I had a chance to catch up earlier today with Will Bolt, as Camden mentioned in the ticker, a contract extension for Coach Bolt, of a new 5-year deal that pushes him out to 2029. So a couple of hours headed your way tonight. You know, and Jess, I could kind of, and we talked about it some last night, that when you watched Matt Rule and the body language Saturday from that post-scrimmage press conference that you could just tell he wasn't overly pleased. He really didn't get into many specifics. He certainly didn't mention that he didn't like the tackling. He didn't get into that. Tony got into that today, but it kind of follows suit that when you see Coach, you can kind of pick up some tells that wasn't all that crisp. But again, it's not a huge concern because it was only scrimmage 1, scrimmage 2. I think we would be more concerned if it's that way after this Saturday's scrimmage. But it was interesting to hear Tony talk about the tackling or maybe the lack of good execution on that front a couple of days ago.
Yeah, I mean, look, the standard is raised. We've heard that over and over again, and they're not last year's team. They want to be better, and so they are holding them to higher expectations. And so if you're not doing things right, they're going to let them know about it. It's crazy. My brother actually sent me a clip. It was from the Chasing 3 documentary, and Coach Rule in the open practice in front of the fans actually had stopped, and he had a mic on at the time and was saying, hey, this is why we lose, because we're not doing these things right. And so, they're harping on those little things, and because how many times have we said this? The little things completely changed the trajectory of how many games last year, so I know that's been a big emphasis. Now that they're into year number 2, the expectations, the standard has changed, and they're going to hold them to it.
And I saw that same clip that you're referencing. He called out in front of the team, Jamari and Ty, and really laid on them, called them by name and said, guys, you've got to get this going. It's your team. It's time to win. We've got to sharpen this up now. And when it's time to shoot your shot, you shoot your shot. And so that was a really powerful clip. If you haven't seen it, folks, go to Huskers.com. You can dig that out and go pull that up. But it goes along with what he says all the time, that we practice these things and we want them then to be implemented in games, scrimmages, games, whatever the case may be. And I don't think they saw that to a certain degree in Saturday's scrimmage. So it was kind of refreshing to hear Coach White say that. It's one of the criticisms we've had about during the Frost era and really the Mike Riley era is that every practice was really good and every practice and scrimmage was really good, and then we'd get to Saturdays and the games weren't. I find it refreshing that we're getting some glimpses of the coaches being willing to say, no, it wasn't good enough to the media, which they generally use as a conduit to get a message to their team. I think it's great that we're hearing some of that because obviously things have not been great, or we wouldn't have been 5-7 last year and haven't been to a bowl in 8 years. So I think it's refreshing to hear that.
Yeah, it is. And just going back to the messaging of this needs to be a player-led team, and how many times have we heard Coach Rule say that? And so challenging those players, hey, you got to raise the standard. You got to call your guys out. If you're going to be a leader, we expect Jamari Butler to be a single-digit guy. Ty Robinson is. Yep. If you're going to be one of those leaders, you got to step up and speak up and make sure that your guys, you're holding them accountable. That's been a huge message that I've heard from players over and over again throughout fall camp, even going back to spring, and just, they want to be able to challenge each other, and it's understanding that it's coming from a place of love, but that's why they've worked so hard on that culture and chemistry so that you can have those voices, you can hold each other accountable while you're out there on the field. But yeah, I mean, look, you don't want them to be perfect right now, you want them to keep building, so you don't expect them to have a perfect scrimmage, but the fact that we've seen this in the past where Coach Rule uses those press conferences to get some messaging out, and so certainly I think message delivered, and same thing today from Tony White.
This is the tough time of camp, right? I mean, the fun of it being open and starting is way past, and we're still more than 2 weeks away from the opener with UTEP, and Camden had a clip from Tony White about when do you flip the switch. I should have had you say that, but when do you do that to UTEP? And he said, well, that's Coach's call. We haven't started that yet. I think that probably will happen after the scrimmage on Saturday is when they will really turn their attention to implementing a game plan and starting to work on the minors. But you can't do that yet. You still have too much time to get fundamentals in and do some of the other building blocks that you want for this program for this year. You have to do that this week. Players know that, so they're not – they can't quite see the light yet at the end of this, that we've got a game now – coming up. It still seems so far away for them. And so that's where you fight the mental fatigue.
Yeah.
And that's maybe where you don't tackle as well, or maybe you don't run as good a route, or maybe you don't put the ball where it needs to be if you're a quarterback. So the little things really are accentuated, I think, this week in camp when the guys are just really tired and beat up.
Yeah, I think I spoke with Elijah Jeudy, and he said it before we did the interview. I was like, how are you feeling? He's like, a little sore. I think a lot of them are at that point right now, too. And as much as they're, they are diligent about getting in those cold tubs and taking care of their bodies, but it's such a grind, and it's all they've been doing, and then they lift right after practice. And so, I think this is definitely, you hear it year after year, how tough this time is. So they just got to push through and keep going and keep getting that 1% better every single day. I'm curious as to when we might start hearing about, hey, who's taking over some number one spots, like quarter and corner.
Yeah. Well, Tony White addresses the opposite corner from Tommy Hill. We'll get that clip coming your way here in just a few minutes. By the way, you know who else has problems with flipping switches? Noah Eagle stumbled on that in one of the basketball games in the Olympics, and he was kind of laughing about it. And I go, well, we got to get Jessica and Noah together. We got to get them in the same room and talk about this flipping switches.
Did he say switch flips?
He did. He did exactly what you did, and I was chuckling. I think it might have been one of the women's broadcasts, because he did both the men and women over the Olympics. And
I can't get it through my mind to click. Every time I say it, I'm like, even when I say flip switch, it still sounds wrong. So I have to really think about it.
Shane in the chat room's all over you again.
I know.
With that,
they'll never let me forget that one.
Well, we woke up today early. The release came out that Will Bolt was getting a contract extension. We've been hearing thoughts of this was coming, and I've had a couple people today reach out and say, why now? I mean, well, one, he only had 2 years left on his deal. And to be fair to any coach and coaching staff when they recruit, you need to have a deal that goes out longer than 2 years. But also, why didn't he deserve it? I mean, they won the conference tournament title. They won 40 games, first time in 10 years, made a regional. Obviously didn't go as far in the regional as they wanted to. Thanks to the Gators and the red-hot Florida Gators that were put in Stillwater with them. But I think well-deserved for Will Bolt. I think adding Rob Childress and making that move in the pitching staff in the offseason a year ago, what he got out of that team this year and that amazing run in Omaha, I think it was a real well-deserved. And I applaud Troy Dannon for doing this. But again, I think it was more that he only had 2 years left. I think you have to keep that out so coaches aren't handicapped when they recruit.
Yeah, and Greg, let me ask you this. Outside of Will Bolt, how many people would be able to do as good of a job as he does here? Understanding this program, the Big Ten, just coaching here at Nebraska. I mean, is there very many guys that could do it better than Will Bolt?
That's a great question, and I don't think that the answer would be very many, because one, he understands the limitations you have with the weather, which we can't do anything about that. We live where we live, and we get the climate that we get, but he understands that, and so he knows how to work around that. And then he knows how to recruit to this place because he was a student athlete here, and I mean, he's been a part of all the success of this program for the last 25 years, minus the 4 or 5 that he slipped down to A&M to be an assistant coach. So he wants to be here. He's had success, but it was interesting today because the announcement came out at 9, and some of the message boards were pretty harsh on this coming out now and kind of questioning Troy Dannon for, boy, you've been handing these out like candy. And since Troy took over in March, I mean, Fred Hoiberg got an extension, but I don't think anybody argues that. Amy Williams got an extension. I don't think anybody argued that. And John Cook did. Nobody would argue that. So I don't know that you can say handed them out like candy, but when you have good people, you want to keep them, right? The harder thing is to go find somebody else. And so that goes back to your point. Who else could do a better job here than Will Bolt?
Well, and then, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, going back to John Cook, and you hear rumblings, oh, is he going to retire? And so you got these recruits going all these places, and hey, Coach Cook's not going to be there for very much longer. It's the same thing when you're recruiting these baseball guys, and they want to play for these coaches that they sign up for, and they build these relationships. And so it's important for a lot of these players to know that there's going to be some longevity with that staff. And, you and Ben were talking about this the other night, but the turnover, the amount of guys that are coming back from that Big Ten championship team, got to think there's going to be some pretty high expectations for this program going into next spring.
No question. I don't know with the addition of the 4 West Coast schools that they'll be the pick to win the league, because Oregon made a super, so they might be the preseason pick, but Nebraska won't be far behind. So high expectations. He looks like he's got things in place. We had a great conversation today that we'll play for everybody coming up in hour number 2 about guys who just tore it up in some of the summer leagues that they went out and played, guys that were on the team this past year and had wonderful summers. So looking forward to letting you hear that conversation with Will coming up in hour number 2.
Greg,
right,
you forgot to mention John Cook not only got an extension, he also got a horse. You got to throw that in there.
Yeah, Troy Dana may never live that down, right? But that got put into a collegiate coach's contract. Did he get paid for the horse, or are we paying for the feed of the horse, or the?
I actually don't think the horse was in the contract. I think it was part of the release that Coach Cook was going to use the money to purchase the horse, but it certainly was in the announcement that because he was signing back on, the horse was a part of it. So yeah, I certainly had never seen that before.
Is it Rev or Rez? What's the name of the horse?
Rev. But yeah, I mean, going back to Troy Dannon and seeing when those coaches deserve that, and then just also embracing that part of it. Coach Cook comes to him and said, hey, I want to do this, maybe make a spin on it. He's like, okay, let's do it. And it ended up being like a great storyline to follow throughout the summer. You had a fan vote that 15,000 people voted for that horse's name. And so, the fact that Troy bought into that and played along with that, I think it's great.
I do too. I agree. Folks, we want you to be a part of it. 402-413-2400. That's the number to either call or fire us off a text. Love that text line. Keep those comments headed our way here tonight. All right, when we come back, a practice report. We'll hear from not only Tony White, but Rob Dvorak, the linebackers coach, met with the media today as well. So we'll play clips from both of those gentlemen here in just a couple of minutes. Woodhouse Auto Family, they are your trusted auto partner. 20 brands, 20 convenient sales and service locations. We're making car buying on your terms. Go visit us online at woodhouse.com. Our practice report straight ahead.
Here in Nebraska, we love our teachers. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska is teaming up with Husker Athletics to recognize teachers who help students live their best and healthiest lives. Visit huskers.com/touchdown for teachers today to tell us about your favorite Nebraska educator. Winning teachers get a school day visit from Herbie Husker and a VIP experience at the 2025 Husker football spring game, thanks to their biggest fans at Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska. Head to huskers.com/touchdown for teachers today.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Husker fans, get ready for another thrilling season at Hibner Stadium with the reigning Big Ten champion Nebraska soccer team. Season tickets for the 2024 season are on sale now. Don't miss your chance to support the Huskers as they go head-to-head with some of the top teams in the country, including Oklahoma State, Penn State, and Duke. Get your tickets today at huskers.com/tickets or call 1-800-8-BIG-RED.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Pickup truck, sports car, motorcycle, minivan, townhouse, two-story, farmhouse, fixer-upper. What you drive and where you live is different for everyone, so it's important to have insurance that fits your needs and is just right for you. At Shelter Insurance, we understand that, which is why our agents help you design a comprehensive auto, home, and life insurance plan. Insurance that fits just right.
See Shelter Agent Joe Methy in Kearney, Jackie Rowan in Lexington, or Megan Fales in Cozad today.
If you're driven by an adventurous heart, you're in luck. The 2024 Subaru Outback shares your spirit. It will take you as far as you want to explore with standard symmetrical all-wheel drive and up to 9.5 inches of ground clearance. Plus, 96% of Outback vehicles sold in the last 10 years are still on the road today. The 2024 Subaru Outback. Go where love takes you. Longevity based on Experian automotive vehicles in operations versus total new registrations for model years 2023 to 2022 as of December 2022.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
You expect your home to protect everything you love. But you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your crawl space and damaging your home. Musty smells, sagging floors, mold are just a few signs your crawl space is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
At Woodhouse Chevy, we believe in the power of performance. Whether it's an adventure with the family or tackling the toughest jobs, Woodhouse Chevy has you covered. Woodhouse Chevy offers many models to choose from and amazing features like wireless Apple CarPlay, lane keep assist with lane departure warning, front pedestrian braking, and so much more. Woodhouse Chevy brings you 2 convenient locations in Omaha and Missouri Valley. Together, let's drive with Woodhouse Chevy.
When you're in the stands and have the ability to control your irrigation in the field, it's a game-changing moment. Valley is where farming meets end-zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Experience real-time, play-by-play action and control that keeps you ahead. Score big with irrigation technology from Valley. It's technology that improves your life and lets you be at the game and in the game. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
We're back here on a Tuesday night, Sports Nightly on the Huskers Radio Network. Again, thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with us here tonight, Tuesday night. Huskers did practice again today, and our first chance to hear from some of the coaches since Coach Renewal met with the media after the Saturday scrimmage. So time for us to deliver to you another practice report.
It's time for the Nebraska football practice report.
Getting out of boot camp and getting to football is probably exciting for them, but also relief because I know a lot of these guys, the guys that came back because they want to get to the season.
Defense was the topic today with coordinator Tony White, linebackers coach Rob Dvorak, and a couple of defensive players and made an appearance after they got done lifting later in the morning. We'll start with Coach White. The first question out of the gate was, can you just assess for us what this defense looks like now 2 weeks into camp?
They're working their butts off. We're throwing a lot of situations at them this week, especially. Coach has situations mapped out, different thoughts, and want to get that practice. And the great thing is, especially in those situations, he's pulling the guys up a lot and going over the philosophy of why we're doing certain things. So, the education on that part is there, and we need to continue that not only on the grass and in the meetings, but some guys, you can see some guys starting to get comfortable in terms of their groove and their feel about playing. I think Deshaun Singleton, he's a guy you can see. We lost him last year early, and then it was like just kind of making sure that his knee was okay, and taking a long process there. And then all of a sudden now you see him getting back in the groove of making plays and flying around, and so he's playing at a high level right now. Same thing with Marquise. With his knees and everything, you're monitoring his loads and stuff, but him running around, getting the feel, he's looking like last year's Marquise. And then, those interior guys, the linebackers, Javen, John, Giff in there in the middle too. I think all those guys are doing a nice job of running around, communicating well, playing fast. We got to continue to develop the guys, the next level of guys. Mario Buford's one, Dwight Boodle's out there making some plays, Sierra Wright's out there making some plays. That second group of DBs, we're trying to get them a lot of reps, a lot of situations, so they can advance their learning and throw them on the grass. And Coach did that today. So, again, it's just that week of camp where you're trying to not only challenge them physically, because you're hitting that mark where their bodies are beat up and all that stuff, but also mentally in all those situations. So that way, when those situations arise in the game, that you know how to act. So.
Again, there, Greg, you hear him just listing all the names of the guys that, we've had this conversation about, just the guys that have come back and some of those playmakers. And I cannot wait to get a sense for how Deshaun Singleton's going to come back, because he brought an edge, just how he plays. And I think he's a big piece to get back to. And, but yeah, I think, they're not going to settle for just being getting by. This is a defense that you hear Tony White and his conviction on wanting to be even better and those marks that they want to hit. When you talk to the defensive players, they're absolutely bought into that too. I mean, they are very, very hungry and motivated and want to be the best. They talk a lot about being the best defense in the country. That is the goal. And I think certainly there's players there. The foundation has been laid to be able to be some of the best defenses in the country, to be among that conversation.
To me, and I'm with you, the most encouraging thing in that whole bite, and it was pretty long, but I thought there was a lot of good stuff in there, was him kind of raving about Deshaun Singleton. And, we missed him at the back half of that season last year. And not to take anything away from Buford, who came back about that same time, or anybody else that played back there, Omar Brown, any of those guys. But Deshaun was playing really good football, and it was really starting to make sense to him what he was supposed to be doing. So for him to pick up where he left off last year, I think is incredibly encouraging because I was a big Omar Brown fan. I thought Omar played great football for Nebraska. But if Deshaun, I think, has another gear in him above Omar. So that was really encouraging to hear him say that. And I think there's adequate bodies back there. They just are guys that have not played a whole lot. Even Marquise has not played a whole lot because of the 1 year that he was out with the leg injury, but I'm encouraged by that. He dropped some names at corner, so then the follow-up question was, how's the competition been on that opposite corner of Tommy Hill? We all kind of assume Tommy's got one of the spots locked down, and here's Tony White talking about that opposite corner.
Yeah, I mean, that thing is rotating every day. I think the whole secondary is rotating through there, getting a lot of guys, a lot of different spots. A lot of reps at different spots. Coach Butler's doing a really nice job of that. I mean, you got Dwight Boodle's out there, Sierra Wright's out there. I mean, Jeremiah's out there. Bly's been on the side, and he's working his way back well. Amari Sanders is a guy who's really standing out amongst those young guys and getting a lot of reps at corner. I mean, it's really day by day, who's excelling, who's really performing at practice. And then, like I said, John is rotating guys through there so we can see guys at different areas, putting a field safety at boundary, putting a corner at field safety, moving those guys around so we have some flexibility.
I am so glad to hear that about Bly Hill, because when you saw him go down at the spring game, I didn't know how serious it was going to be, but he certainly looks the part. I know he flashed during the spring, so to get him coming back, hopefully he can be full go and add some depth there. But sounds like they got some options. I wonder, again, going back to how you're going to select who's the one, who's going to get that day one start. And I think it's going to change. It'll change throughout the season, just because we heard Garrett McGuire talking about, the depth chart might change every week, just depending on how guys play in the game, perform in the game, and how they attack practice. I think you could probably say the same thing for the secondary with as many options as they have back there.
Sierra Wright is the USC transfer that Nebraska got late June. I mean, he's a really late addition to this roster, so it's good to hear that he's already kind of climbed his way near the top. You surprised at all to hear Boodle's name? I mean, Boodle got hurt fairly early last year, but I think Boodle's just a football player, and his brother DiCaprio was the same way. You just couldn't get him off the field. He just made too many plays. Are you surprised at all that we're hearing Dwight Boodle's name again kind of rise to the top?
I'm not. He's just kind of like a bulldog, I guess. Just, he's not going to back down. He doesn't care where people say he's supposed to be on the depth chart. He's going to compete. He loves to play. I mean, you could just tell by the way he talks about the game, and he loves being a Husker. So I just, I think for guys like Boodle going into this with Coach Butler saying, I didn't want to have any preconceived notions. So someone like Boodle might have said, oh, here we go, give me. But Boodle was playing last year, some in the fall. So we'll see how he factors in. But no, I'm not really surprised, just because of how his demeanor, how he approaches it. He's not going to shy away from competing. I don't think, just the sense that I get just from the limited conversations that I've had with him.
Yeah, the bulldog reference is perfect. He just attacks, and he's going to lose some battles you do as a DB. You're going to get beat at times, but he can. It seems to me that he can shake that off and just go attack the next rep. And I think they love that kind of guy.
He was a true freshman last year. Keep in mind, it's not like and then he gets hurt in the middle of the season, so it's not like he's got all this experience. So, yeah, those true freshmen, they're going to make some of those mistakes. Absolutely.
I'm going to have to look this up because I don't know if he got hurt before the 4 games were up. I don't remember. I'll look that up during a break and see if he's got that year back or not. All right, we referenced tackling in the opening segment and that Tony White talked about it. Here's going to be the clip about that this was his impression after the scrimmage was over on Saturday.
I think the football moniker is that the defense is always hit early, right, because of offensive timing and all that kind of stuff. But I don't think we tackled very well the very first scrimmage. It was just first time. I get it, but just like Coach said, you want to see the things you practice and preach every day. You want to see it show up on the grass live. Get the coaches out there, get all the cameras out there, and let them play ball. And it didn't show up like it needed to. Not with the group that we have. So. That's been something that's bugging all of us, is that making sure that we stress the tackling. We want to be a great tackling team. And then again, it's the situations, just consistently having the guys think about what situation they're in and how they should react, so that way when it gets to those close games that, we come out on top. So,
Greg, that was one thing that Searles talked a lot about throughout the course of last season, is how much improved the tackling was out of this defense. So I know it's a huge emphasis. And, it's also, too, you got to keep in mind, there's also some pretty good playmakers, too. So, you definitely want to get them to the ground. But I also think that's probably pretty good if some of the offensive players are making some plays on some of these defensive players.
Right. I mean, that's the other side of the coin, is if they're making guys miss, that's good for us, too, because that's our offensive guys making those things happen. All right, Tony White got into the helmet communication thing, and he said, he goes, we started camp, and he said, I was the one doing some of the talking, but he goes, I've handed that off to Rob Dvorak. So if Dvorak right now is the one with the communication with whoever's going to wear it, and Bullock has worn it, Gifford has worn it, some of those other inside guys have taken turns putting it on their helmet. And what it is, it's like a green sticker on the back of the helmet, and then is the transmitter for that communication. So here's Rob Dvorak talking about how it's been working, how the communication's been working for the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, so we're just trying out a few different things, what's best to communicate with the guys, whether it's pre-snap or a lot of offenses now are communicating before the 15-second hit on the play clock deal. So sometimes offense checks, it's communication deal, pre-snap, just post-snap because it'll reset. Just talk to the guys about what's going on and what we want to do.
Rob Dvorak has the perfect demeanor to be that guy that's in people's ears.
Right.
He's not going to get too crazy talking and try to say too much. He's calm, cool, collected. And so, it could probably be a lot. And I think we heard, was it Satterfield talking about that the other day? I know Searles has talked about that being on a football field with the NFL quarterbacks. It can be a lot to take in, especially if the guy that's talking in your ears is freaking out and trying to get everything in within that time frame. But Rob Dvorak will be steady Eddie talking to those guys in the headset.
Completely agree with that. And it wouldn't make sense to me to have the coordinator do that, because the coordinator's mind is trying to figure out, what am I calling here? And maybe what I'm going to call the next down. He's getting his mind right of what he wants to do. And if he has to try to worry about, all right, did I get the right verbiage to John Bullock, then you've lost it right there. So you have to have somebody whose mind is clear to just focus on that. And I want Tony White just plotting. I want him strategizing, making sure he's got us in the right set and totally viewing what he's seeing. So I think it would be way too, and maybe there will be coordinators around the country that do that, but I don't know how you could possibly do both. I don't see how that would work.
It probably also helps, too, that Dvorak, if John Bullock's wearing the helmet, that's his position coach. That's the guy he communicates with all the time. So that if that communication is going, it's going to be seamless, And I think Isaac Gifford too. He moves around. So some of those guys that have worn that, it also probably helps that they're familiar with Dvorak's communication style too.
Correct. All right, last thing from Coach Dvorak. He was asked about the progress of Javen Wright, and I think that Javen's got so many fans that follow Husker football because of his dad, and then all the things that he's been through, the position changes. And he certainly became a playmaker for this defense late last year. So here's Rob talking about, giving us an update on what kind of camp Javen has had.
Yeah, I think there's really every part of Javen's game that I've been on him about. He obviously never played linebacker before until last year. And then previous to that, he's been through so many injuries in his career and a lot of adversity. So just playing the game, understand how to play the linebacker position, the physical part of it, playing in the box, reading my keys. Obviously, the cover thing for him is kind of natural because he's played DB most of his life. But just read and react and playing the game at a really high level at the linebacker position is just an everyday process for him, along with the rest of the guys.
You know, Greg, we saw him make some of those plays that he's talking about right there about reading and reacting last year. You know, he really had some big-time plays that he was a part of towards the end of last season. So, you know, I think just he's able to let loose. He's not afraid to be physical. And so I think he's really settled into the position and has certainly brought a lot to that room. And is another guy that they can call on to run out there. And he just, experienced and is settled into playing that linebacker spot and all the things that come along with it.
Usually when coaches say, I'm really hard on this player, that means they know how big of a component that player can be for the team. And I'm sure Javen, because he grew up in a football family, he's probably used to the kind of the tough love approach about get after it and do it. Some players, some athletes don't handle that really well, but I think Javen would. And Rob saying I'm on him all the time. I think this staff knows he could be a playmaker for this team, and we saw it last year in glimpses. You need to see more of it now, but exciting to hear that he's continuing to grow into that spot. So a lot of good stuff there from those two guys. Hadn't heard from Rob, and man, is this the first time we've heard from him in camp? Might be. I don't know that we've heard from him.
Yeah, because I think they're rotating through all the position coaches, so I think that was the first time. So we went.
Good.
We heard T Knight, we heard Coach Butler, we've heard now we've heard Dvorak. So I think. I don't know. Now what? Now what? Who's left?
Well, after today, I think Friday is set, and then next week is still kind of loose about who they're going to run out there starting next week. They may start to kind of get into their game week plan starting next week. We'll see. But good to hear from both those guys today. All right, thoughts? What'd you hear, folks? 402-413-2400. If you have some reaction to any of our practice report clips, love to hear that. We're back with more of the show next.
Hey, Husker fans, get ready to elevate your game with Ag Equipment by Claas. Featuring a wide range of tractors and harvesters, including the award-winning Lexion Combine, built right here in Nebraska. Claas Equipment isn't just made, it's made for more. Get more value, efficiency, and winning performance at your field this season with Claas. Visit your Claas dealer today or go to claas.com.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health, and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm Broadcasting Major Connor Clark with Campus News. UNL's Center for Transformative Teaching works with educators across all majors on new teaching strategies for a new generation of students. The Center for Transformative Teaching helps instructors grapple with AI in the classroom, use data modeling to enhance student learning, earn grants for exploring new teaching methods, and provides crucial insights that power academic success.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Dear Truckin' Awesome. Want more horsepower in the stable? The Tundra iForce Max is the most powerful Tundra ever. With its electrifying twin-turbo V6, you got everything you need. Saddle up the Tacoma TRD Pro. Its segment-first performance seats are designed to smooth out the shocks when the ride gets bumpy. The Toyota 4Runner is part mean streak, part wild side, and an all-around icon. Check out that signature power rear window, will ya? Yes, sir, Toyota trucks. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
See your Omaha Metro and Lincoln Toyota dealers. Corwin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, Baxter Toyota of La Vista, or Baxter Toyota of Lincoln.
Noddle Companies is proud to support Husker Athletics. As a leader in commercial real estate, we create thriving communities. Discover what's new in the Builders District in North Downtown, Sunny's at Exarban, and Row House Townhomes on Leavenworth. Noddle Companies is adding Omaha's first hybrid timber building to the skyline. Soon to follow is Builders Green Park, surrounded by mouth-watering food, exciting retail, and a hub of thriving businesses. Noddle Companies, building a better Nebraska. For more information, check us out on Facebook and Instagram. Go Huskers!
If you're driven by an adventurous heart, you're in luck. The 2024 Subaru Outback shares your spirit. It will take you as far as you want to explore with standard symmetrical all-wheel drive and up to 9.5 inches of ground clearance. Plus, 96% of Outback vehicles sold in the last 10 years are still on the road today. The 2024 Subaru Outback. Go where love takes you. Longevity based on Experian automotive vehicles in operations versus total new registrations for model years 2023 to 2022 as of December 2022.
Set, hike. When champions take the field, they come ready to play. TL Irrigation understands the value of momentum. Like a Husker drive, there's no stopping. If you live for farming and football like we do, TL Irrigation has you covered. Check your fields from the game with a remote system, or just enjoy the play knowing our systems are reliable as a sold-out Memorial Stadium. Touchdown! Nebraska born, Nebraska strong. Husker Nation and TL Irrigation are like no other.
Experience the difference and save more when you shop at one of our 3 convenient Woodhouse Ford locations. And right now, it's more affordable than ever to get behind the wheel of a new vehicle when you visit a Woodhouse Ford dealership. Lease a 2024 Ford Escape Active for $279 a month for 48 months, 7,500 miles per year. With approved credit, security deposit waived, first payment, and $299 doc fee due at signing. Vehicle is a retired courtesy loaner. Stock number FC240429. Offer expires 9/2/24. See dealer for details.
Our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest's premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody with you. It's a Tuesday night here on the Huskers Radio Network. Just to give everybody a bit of a sense of what's coming, this is kind of our last week without coaches shows, games, and all that. How about that? I mean, we've survived the oasis of summer. So next week we start our coaches shows. Football is going to be on Wednesday nights, and I believe we're going to have Matt Rural next Wednesday night. So full hour with the head coach, which will be perfect because they'll be winding down camp and starting to really work on UTEP at that point in time. Volleyball, like last year, will stay on Thursday night with John Cook. And our first AD show of the year, those are once a month, will be on the following Monday because we're not coming off a traditional football weekend, so we'll put him on Monday. Normally, though, he would be a Tuesday night during the week. But that's kind of our schedule. So all that launches next week, and then we'll be into a game week and getting ready for things. And volleyball will have 2 matches before football plays, as they'll play Kentucky and Louisville on Tuesday night from the Yum Center, which is a place I know Jess has been to before. And then they will play Friday night back home as part of the Emeritus Classic. So they'll have 2 matches before football kicks it off on that Saturday with UTEP. There are still tickets available for that UTEP game, and you still can do the 3-pack games, the pick your 3 games. That is still out there in the ticket office. So if you are a fan and want to support the program and have always wanted to come see Husker football inside the stadium, that's a perfect way to kind of bite off a small piece of the pie, not a full 7-game schedule, but pick 3. And they've got a couple of nice combinations put together for that. They'd love to help you. You can do some of that online at Huskers.com. That's just a couple of weeks away, but UTEP didn't buy many of the visiting ticket allotments, so they've returned some tickets. So we do have some tickets available for that opening game on the 31st. Could be a little toasty that day, although the weather we've had the last week wouldn't suggest that, but it certainly could change and be pretty hot for that 2:30 game on Saturday. And I think you're going to be grateful, Jess, that with the sideline switch, you'll be in the shade maybe from the kickoff, but certainly in the second half, you'll be definitely in the shade.
Yeah, there were several times I got a little fried on the sideline, so I am not complaining being in the shade.
Do you ever wear a hat or a visor or anything?
No, I really don't.
No? Well,
Sunglasses.
you got to do those. You got to do those TV hits. You probably don't want to mess up your hair, because you're doing those scoreboard hits. You probably don't want to have a visor or something on. But ever worn visors? I've never was a visor guy.
I wear visors when I golf.
Do you?
Yeah.
I wondered if you did.
Yeah, I used to wear like baseball caps all the time, but I haven't as much. But When it's hot, I like the visor. It's a little bit cooler, but
Yeah,
I got
get
this
a little more air to your head.
I got this sweet visor when I went to the Phoenix Open a couple years ago. It's just black, and it's got the logo of I think it's the 16th hole. So I like to wear that one a lot.
Party hole.
Yeah.
The old party hole.
By the way, speaking of, my brother is pretty big on having his visors and his visor game, and so he had 3 that he rotated in that got some notice on some of the photos that I posted, and he is working on a new visor for the Colorado game. He is pumped.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Nice.
My whole family's coming up. They are? They cannot wait for that matchup.
Well, I knew they were big fans of Dion.
What?
I knew they were big fans of Dion.
Actually, my brother was when he was younger, when he was a player. I don't think
he played for the Cowboys, maybe?
Yeah, but I don't think there is much now. They're obviously all in on the Huskers, but I told him, I was like, just be prepared. Colorado fans are not very nice. So
yeah, there won't be very many of them here. So there might be a slight bit of energy in the building that night, don't you think? A little bit?
Just a little bit. It's going to be electric, man.
Yeah, it is.
It's so hard not
kickoff.
to just look ahead, right? I mean, and that's what we hear from Coach Rule all the time about want to know. But it is hard not to talk about that Colorado game.
It is, but you're right. And he even shot. Coach Rule kind of shot across the bow last week about, wait a minute, that's game 2. we're game 1 in UTEP, and I know the team will certainly be fired up. Home openers, opening game of the season, they'll be jacked for that game as well. Fans can have the luxury of kind of peeking ahead. We can to a certain degree, although we'll get chastised if we do too much of that. But I just love this schedule. It's finally great to have a bunch of home games to start this thing off with. The night games early are so much fun at Memorial Stadium. Lincoln turns into just a great place to be when the Huskers don't kick off till nighttime. So it's going to be just so much fun around here in September. And now we just need to back it up with some wins, right? Got to win some of the games.
Got to win. Got to get it done. It's time to switch that flip.
There we go. We got it in. 402-413-2400. Need to work a final break in for the hour. We're back to wrap up this first hour of Sports Nightly next.
Here in Nebraska, we love our teachers. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska is teaming up with Husker Athletics to recognize teachers who help students live their best and healthiest lives. Visit huskers.com/touchdown for teachers today to tell us about your favorite Nebraska educator. Winning teachers get a school day visit from Herbie Husker and a VIP experience at the 2025 Husker football spring game. Thanks to their biggest fans at Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska. Head to huskers.com/touchdown for teachers today.
Jim Gaffigan here with some more Straight Talk. Let's take a moment to appreciate our sweet children, loving grandparents, and eternal soulmates. Now let's use them to save money on wireless. Because with the Straight Talk Silver Plan, you get 4 lines for just $25 a month with unlimited data and no contracts. So add those human pawns, loved ones, and save money. Thanks, kids. They're finally worth it. Straight Talk Wireless, available at Walmart.
Get 4 lines on Silver Unlimited for $25 per line per month, plus taxes and fees. For data management practices and additional terms, visit straighttalk.com.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
It's the Make It Ford Summer Sales Event at your Midwest Ford dealers. Get 0% financing or up to $4,250 bonus cash on F-150. Amazing offers and a great selection of the best-selling trucks in America for 47 years. Ford F-Series. These are the deals you've been waiting for. So don't wait. Make it Ford. Make it yours. Make it now. Get 0% financing for 36 months or up to $4,250 bonus cash on a new Ford F-150. Now, only at your Midwest Ford dealers.
Set. Hike. When champions take the field, they come ready to play. TL Irrigation understands the value of momentum. Like a Husker drive, there's no stopping. If you live for farming and football like we do, TL Irrigation has you covered. Check your fields from the game with a remote system, or just enjoy the play knowing our systems are reliable as a sold-out Memorial Stadium. Touchdown! Nebraska born, Nebraska strong. Husker Nation and TL Irrigation are like no other.
Woodhouse Auto Family, your trusted auto partner. 20 brands, 20 convenient sales and service locations. We're making car buying on your terms. Visit us online at woodhouse.com. BTN's campus tour will be in Lincoln tomorrow. So they'll be at Husker football practice, and then I think tomorrow, I don't know, it won't air tomorrow night because Huskers practice late in the day. It may not air until Thursday, but they've been making their way around the country. They've been out in Los Angeles this week doing UCLA, and I think tonight's USC. But they'll be here tomorrow to kind of give their bird's eye view of Husker football. So for those of you that have been kind of waiting for Nebraska to pop up, it's close. They'll be here tomorrow to shoot it. But again, because Nebraska's practicing late afternoon, early evening, they can't turn that around and get it on tomorrow night. So I think that'll probably air on Thursday night. So looking forward to that. Speaking of the Big Ten, former Big Ten quarterback J.J. McCarthy hurt in the Vikings preseason opener, tore his meniscus in his knee. He's probably going to have surgery next week. He's going to be out for a couple of weeks, so a tough break for the Vikings' #1 pick, J.J. McCarthy. But that is the worst fear in the NFL, is for guys to get hurt in the preseason. Guys that you are counting on to be part of your football team to get hurt in the preseason.
And your quarterback at that.
And your quarterback, right. That's why, like the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes had one drive the other night, and I know he wanted a second drive, and I'm sure they're going, why? You're out. You're done. You've got 8 plays. You're sitting on the bench the rest of the night.
Yeah. No need to risk it for the guys like that. Same thing like, you know, how this team approached the spring with some of the guys like Nash and Ty and Gifford, and, you know what you got out of those guys, so be smart about it. You know, you want to keep them healthy.
Well, Jess, they even held Turner out of Saturday's scrimmage. I mean, Matt's like, I don't need him to scrimmage. He knows how to play that position, and we're already thin, so why risk Turner going in a scrimmage? So they put him on the bench for that. Even though he went to the rest of practice, they just didn't. I think that's a wise move.
Well, yeah, and he had, I think, tweaked an ankle or something at that open practice. I know he was limping a little bit. I know nothing major, but, you know, you got to keep him healthy. And then also with that, you allow for some of those other guys to step in, get that experience, and hopefully build that depth behind Turner, which, you know, I know you got to have it. You got to have it. So get those guys some reps, because you know Turner's done it. He's been out there. He's been in the fire. And so, you know, you allow some other guys to get a feel for it, and so that you maybe feel more comfortable if you need to call their number at some point, and probably are going to throughout the course of a season.
He's had a request for the big dog to be back on the show at some point in time. When is your next sideline slice?
I need to get that scheduled. Yeah, I need. His birthday, you know, was last Friday, I believe. You were not
here.
He's
25. How about that? I thought he was older than 25, but 25 years old.
25? I think he's 33, isn't he?
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's older than 25.
I don't even know how old he is. But, yeah, I need to get with him. I'm sure he probably wants to see a practice or get some more information before. But, yeah, we'll have him on soon. And then, shoot, in 2 weeks, we'll be on weekly. You'll get a lot of the big dog.
All right. Very good. We'll look forward to that. You know, with some of these volleyball matches early in the year, our shows get kind of pinched down a little bit, and so we're not honest with every night with everybody. And I know that really disappoints so many of you that we're not here with you from 6 to 8 o'clock every night. Wow, fast hour. Okay, coming up next hour, Elijah Jeudy. Jessica caught up with him today. The defensive lineman is kind of locked in his life a little bit right now. We'll talk to him. And Will Bolt. Had a conversation with him earlier today. Got a contract extension from Troy Dannon that was announced this morning. We'll talk about that and all the things around Husker baseball. What a busy summer and a good summer it has been for that program. All that coming up in hour 2. Come on back.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
If you're driven by an adventurous heart, you're in luck. The 2024 Subaru Outback shares your spirit. It will take you as far as you want to explore with standard symmetrical all-wheel drive and up to 9.5 inches of ground clearance. Plus, 96% of Outback vehicles sold in the last 10 years are still on the road today. The 2024 Subaru Outback. Go where love takes you. Longevity based on Experian automotive vehicles in operations versus total new registrations for model years 2023 to 2022 as of December 2022.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your foundation and damaging your home. Cracks in walls and uneven floors are just a few signs your foundation is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
It's the Make It Ford Summer Sales Event at your Midwest Ford dealers. Get 0% financing or up to $4,250 bonus cash on F-150. Amazing offers and a great selection of the best-selling trucks in America for 47 years. Ford F-Series. These are the deals you've been waiting for, so don't wait. Make it Ford. Make it yours. Make it now. Get 0% financing for 36 months or up to $4,250 bonus cash on a new Ford F-150. Now, only at your Midwest Ford dealers.
Here in Nebraska, we love our teachers. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska is teaming up with Husker Athletics to recognize teachers who help students live their best and healthiest lives. Visit huskers.com/touchdown for teachers today to tell us about your favorite Nebraska educator. Winning teachers get a school day visit from Herbie Husker and a VIP experience at the 2025 Husker football spring game, thanks to their biggest fans at Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska. Head to huskers.com/touchdown for teachers today.
Good evening. I'm Camden Cohn, and our sports ticker is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Earlier today, Husker football defensive coordinator Tony White spoke to the media about a variety of different topics. One of those topics was when the coaches prepped for the season opener.
Coaches. Usually it's like 10 days out. You know, that again, football moniker-wise, it's like 10 days out. You don't want to get the game plan too stale. You know, and there's a lot of things we're correcting on the grass right now. But in terms of coaching-wise, we're going through. We did it once in the spring, and then with all the additions and stuff, you know, we just started doing it again. So our process is correct in terms of how we're going to present, how we're going to see things, how we want to attack things like that. So we've been doing that, but. You never want to start too early. It's a delicate balance, right? You never want to start too early, but you definitely want to use the time to your advantage.
Nebraska baseball coach Will Bolt received a contract extension today. The new 5-year deal runs through the 2029 season, with Bolt receiving an annual salary of $500,000. 8 of Nebraska's 19 NCAA tournament appearances have come with Bolt as a player or a member of the coaching staff. In other baseball news, Coach Bolt announced 3 new pieces to the staff. Derek Roy has been hired as Director of Player Development, Garrett Plumley is the new strength coach, and Cole Evans is the team's graduate manager. And finally, the Big Ten soccer preseason poll came out today, with the Huskers picked to finish 4th in the conference, behind UCLA, Penn State, and Michigan State. Nebraska also had a trio of players selected to the Players to Watch list. Sarah Weber, Florence Belzeal, and Jordan Zaid are part of that list. Our sports ticker is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Call a timeout. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors, ready to listen and provide support. Hour 2 of Sports Nightly is up next, right here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
Heinrich gonna step in back, little G-belly action as a man wide open. It's Jalen Lloyd. The throw, he makes a catch. 30, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Nebraska.
Nebraska's serving specialist Kennedy sends it over Vasquez Gomez. Perfect pass, set it up. Fairbanks diving, take Laney Choboy. Bumps it left Nebraska. Harper and nearly drops. Free ball back. Oh, a block back by Becca, and that nearly drops. And a free ball finally over, block back by Becca, and it does. Becca Alec, she's putting on a blocking clinic. They can't get it over.
Bryce Williams puts his head down, cut off by good defense by Mbako. Now up top it comes to Mast. Mast dribbles once, gives it back to Williams, shoots a 3 on the way. Got it again! Another 3. Williams on fire.
Jazz Shelley, who has electrified this crowd. She'll take a 28-footer. You betcha! Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? She ends the first quarter in triple style.
Ball's out of strike here on Gabe Swanson, the pitch. Hit pretty well towards left center field. Going back on it is Graves. Graves at the wall, and it's gone again! Swanson's gone deep again! Gabe with his second solo shot of the game.
Billy swings and crushes this one to the moon. Left center and gone. No doubt on that one. 3-1 Nebraska.
Here are your hosts, Greg Sharpe and Jessica Coody on the Huskers Radio Network.
And we're back, hour number 2, Sports Nightly here on a Tuesday night. I hope you had a wonderful day today. Thank you so much for spending some time with us here tonight. We're going to talk a little Husker football and Husker baseball this hour on the program. I want to clean up a couple of texts from last hour. John in Omaha said, I'm so happy for Coach Bolt and his contract extension. My son has been a coach for 2 decades, and I, for one, just knew how much it takes behind the scenes and to keep a team relevant on the national scale as it has been able to do from the short period of time. I appreciate the long-term vision of our athletic director. Will Bolt is a Husker through and through, and I have great confidence in his future with the program. That was John in Omaha. And Tom and Hayes said, hey, Sharpe and Jess, congrats, Coach Bolt. One more deserving true class acting coach. It's a tough job in Nebraska, and he's done it well. So thanks for both those guys for sounding off with us here tonight. We're going to hear from the coach coming up here later on in the hour. A lot to cover because there's been a lot that's happened this summer. he won't want to talk much about the contract, but there's a lot of other things that we'll certainly dive into with him here in a few minutes. We're 2 days away from Husker soccer opening, and I know you've been working on updating Camden's wardrobe because he's been a member of the Husker Hooligans, which is the student cheering section at soccer. Any luck on that? I think they're giving away T-shirts to students Thursday night in the opener with Oklahoma State. Is that correct?
Yeah, so shout out Alex Harris and the marketing team. They hooked Camden up today because since Camden has to help us run the show, he can't be out there and be a part of the Hooligans. So I said, hey, any chance we could get a shirt for Camden since he's helping us out? And I think he's going to wear it tomorrow so you can get a preview of it. But it's not just that. That's for the student section. They're also giving away scarves. And then on Thursday night, I think maybe a play on it being summer and, hey, here's the scarves for when you need it in the winter. But scarves also for, the however many are available to the fans that get there. And then, again, Sunday's the dollar day. So there's lots going on out there in Hibner.
Hibner, 7 o'clock is kickoff for Oklahoma State and Nebraska. The exhibition season is over. It's on to the real stuff now. Some really good early matchups for the Huskers, the 6th-ranked team in the country. And as Camden told you, they're number 4 in the Big Ten preseason poll. UCLA, a perennial power, is the pick. Penn State is a top 5 program. They're number 2. Michigan State, who Nebraska split the conference title with last year in the regular season, is number 3. And then the Huskers are at number 4. You talk about, and you sit there and go, if you're picked in the top 5 or 6 in any of these polls, in any of these sports, that's really good. Because everybody's got to keep in mind, this is now an 18-team league. I mean, this is a huge league. So if you're picked in the top 4 or 5, you're probably, and that's certainly the case with soccer, you're in the national discussion as well if you're picked that high in this league in really any sport.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of different programs, and especially the ones that are being added, they're good at a lot of those different sports too. So, I know that's part of the deal, right? When you're trying to increase and strengthen the league is adding those teams that can come in and compete and raise the bar. And so there's multiple sports that we've talked about, softball being one of those, women's basketball that is going to elevate, just the overall, perception and just the strength of the league. And I think soccer's one of those too, adding a few of those teams, and you got to travel. So yeah, I think it's certainly going to be It's going to be a tough competition for them to repeat that title, but I know that's what their sights are set on. So, that's what happens when you win one, and then you got everybody coming back, and you make an NCAA tournament run. Those expectations change, and those you set out believing and knowing that you just did it. You want to do it every year after that. So they're not shying away from it, that's for sure. But it's not going to be easy. Conference
titles in anything from this point moving forward are going to be really special. You're going to have to earn it to outfight 17 other schools in those particular sports. You go back and look, and I don't have it with me now. I shouldn't have brought this up if I don't have its numbers. But the amount of medals that UCLA athletes and USC athletes got at these recently completed Paris Games are mind-boggling. I mean, those are two just dynamite programs in all the sports, not just the main ones of football and basketball and those type of things. They just have a lot of terrific athletes and a lot. Water polo, like those teams have water polo, and so they just have some different sports that they dabble in and are really successful in that.
Beach volleyball.
Beach volleyball, yeah.
Track and fields, swimming.
By the way, I did, after your weekend winner, I did go watch that performance from that Aussie gal last night. How could she not get 1 point?
Did you pick up some moves? Didn't she do like the kangaroo, do a kangaroo impression or something?
Something like that. She was having a good time, though.
Yeah. Hey, again, shout out, you're an Olympian, and you broke the internet, and you will be famous the rest of your life. She's got some NIL deals coming.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure she does. Well, Huskers practice today. It was kind of defensive day with defensive players, defensive coaches meeting with the media afterwards. One of those was Elijah Jeudy, former Alabama player, transferred here a couple years ago, starting to make his mark and starting to grow up as a human being, as all these young men and women do once they get on a college campus. Our Jessica caught up with him after practice today.
Here with Elijah, Judy. Well, you guys are, 2 full weeks into this thing, working on week number 3. How's it going so far here in fall camp?
It's going great. We're having a lot of fun with the guys. We're coming out to practice every day with the mindset that we're going to make sure everybody gets better every day. So it's going great.
How good does it feel to get back out on the field? You guys grind so long and so hard, throughout the off season. But how good does it feel when you get back out here and get those pads back on again?
Man, it feels great. We've been waiting for a long time since, when was our last game? The 23rd, I believe. So we've been waiting for a long time to get back in the pads and be able to run around, hit each other. So, yeah.
You transferred here. You had your first season last year with Nebraska. When you closed the chapter on last year, how did you reflect on your first year as a Husker?
For myself, I didn't think I met the standard. I didn't meet the standard that I set for myself. So the goal this year is to exceed that standard and just get everything I got. Because last year, it was like I was a little iffy. I wasn't too confident, but now I'm confident. I know what I need to do to get the job done.
Coach Knighton really bragged on you in the process, the growth that you've had over the last year. How much do you feel more confident, just in a better place going into this season?
I feel a lot more confident. I'm in a great place right now. I had my son last year, January 15th, so that's like my motivation, my why right now. I talk about that with the team. I just come in every day with the goal that if I don't work today, if I don't push to give everything I got, how's my son going to eat? So that's my mindset going in every day.
How does that change, just your view of everything when you welcome in a son?
I view life a lot different now. It's like it's not just me now. It's not like everything's about him at this point. So it's like for me to make sure he's good in life, I got to give everything I got for him.
Going back to when you decided to transfer here, what went into that? Why did you want to come be a part of Nebraska?
I just wanted to be a part of a culture of great guys, build a brotherhood with everybody, and I also wanted to come in and play and be able to show what I can produce for a team. And Coach Knighton allowed me to do that.
I know he's expecting big things from you. What were some of the things that you wanted to work on to get right before you hit the field for fall camp?
My goal, I had a big issue with stopping the run, so that was my main goal, was just stopping the run, hand placements, and getting off the ball.
With Coach Knighton, how good is he at development and, getting the best out of each and every one of his guys?
He is great at it. He gets to know everybody individually, so he knows which buttons to push for everybody to get them going. And for me, I think me and him have a different type of bond to where he can tell me one thing, and I'm like, all right, I know not to take it in the wrong way. I know he's trying to coach me up, teach me up, and then I'll just go out there and play as hard as I can.
With so much depth on the D-line, I know you guys have bought into being, hey, we've got 9-10 starters, but we're all going to play a role. How have you guys taken that on here in fall camp and wanting to set the tone for this defense?
Yeah, we actually talked about this a couple of days ago. We watched the documentary of the Boston Celtics, and one of the main things was carving out your role. So I think that's what the goal is for everybody. Everybody in the room right now trying to carve out the role, whether that's stopping the run, rushing the passer, being a guy that can get off on third downs and make plays.
How important is that, embracing that and understanding that everybody's going to contribute, but, it might be a different role, but I want to play my role?
It's real important for the guys that don't think they so to put it into context, it's for the young guys, they're trying to figure out how to get on the field faster. So for them, they got to carve out something that they're really good at and then let that show on tape. So that just makes it very important for them, and then helps them carve out a role for us. So where if there's a main guy that goes down like Ty, Nas, or 10, they can hurry up and step up and know what they got to do.
From your perspective, what does it do for a defensive line group when you've got so many guys with so much experience and that have played quite a bit of ball together?
I'm not gonna lie, it creates competition, but it's good for the D-line. Everybody wants to be up there, so it forces everybody to know what they're doing, know your lineman assignment, and to be able to put on their practice.
Okay. Describe death row. What does that mean? What is that concept for you guys?
It's a brotherhood. It's a connection. Everybody in the group knows what we got to do as death row. We do everything together, whether that's going to little events, having birthday parties or anything, having little cooks at the house. So it's really a brotherhood. It's a brotherhood. We're all together. We all love each other.
There's a lot of different guys from a lot of different walks of life, and you talked about Coach Knighton embracing that and getting to know everybody. How do you guys come together in that regard when there are so many different personalities and different kind of types of people?
Yeah, one thing in that room is T-Knight wants everybody to be themselves. Mm-hmm. So there's definitely a lot of different personalities, but everybody just clicks together and bonds together well.
Okay, so moving forward, how do you like where this defense is at? What are the goals here over this, I guess specifically this week, what are you guys trying to accomplish?
Right now, we're just trying to accomplish this, like meet the new standard that's in the room right now. We set a bar last year, and we really want to exceed that. The goal right now is for us to be the #1 defense in the country, and I think we're going to meet that standard this year.
And for you personally, you talked about you didn't live up to what you expected of yourself last year. How do you go about approaching the goals that you set for yourself going into this season?
It's just like I have to go out there and give everything I got. Last year, I don't think I was giving it 100%. I was probably a little bit like 80. Yeah, so it was like this year it's just like where we got to go. I don't got a lot of time left, so it's like we got to get everything we got.
Some of the goals that you guys have set, the takeaways, the sacks, all of that, how attainable do you believe that is for this defense?
It's very important for us. We really emphasize taking the ball away, punching the ball out every chance we get. So yeah, it's really important to us. That's the main thing that the coaches stress to us every day in practice is take the ball away, take aways, punch the ball out. We got our little circus where we're trying to punch the ball out and everything.
Just for being the second year in Tony White's defense, and you guys all, how much more confident, just overall, just comfortable in the system do you guys feel here in year number 2?
We're really comfortable right now. We got everything. A lot of the older guys that was in the defense last year, we got everything down packed. Now the goal is to see things that we didn't see before. So we got the plays right now for the defense. We're trying to make sure where the back is, where the tight end is, what depth the back is, and everything.
Appreciate your time. Great stuff.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed chatting with him. That was my first time ever interviewing him, but what a great perspective. He talked about being a dad, how that's changed a lot of his motivation. He spoke with that on the team. I also like that the D-line group watched the Boston Celtics documentary together and just really took a lot away from understanding your role, and everybody's going to play a role if we want to do what we want to do, and it's going to take everybody and embracing those roles.
Pot roast has been high on Elijah. Really thinks he's been on the come, and I think he thinks that becoming a dad has matured him and settled him in and kind of focused him a little bit, and he mentioned that with you right there. I misspoke going in. He's not an Alabama transfer from A&M, but, it's just another guy that you don't really, he doesn't maybe not top of mind for you, but yet he's a guy that will help this team out. There's no question. He's going to get snaps, and he's going to add depth along that position. That position's just stockpiled. And think about that, Jessica. It was 12, 13 months ago. We were so nervous about that defensive line. And now might be the strength of the football team.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers, too, and just the way that Terrence Knighton's able to develop and then how Tony White is able to scheme around those guys if they show some flashes. I mean, you just heard, was it? I can't remember which one of the ones of the interviews I talked about today about some of those younger guys. I mean, Terrence Knighton brought up that these guys like Cam Linhart, Princewell are showing that you can play as a true freshman on this line if you come in and do things right and you flash in practice. And so, one of the guys that I talked to today talked about, for some of these young guys, finding something that they can contribute and really, bringing your best on that. And so then it's hard for the DC and Terrence Knighton to say no when you continue to do it repeatedly at practice and you flash in that regard. So, and again, going back to that four-game redshirt rule, it's really nice to have when you have this amount of depth and some young depth at that. So, it's a nice problem to have, but completely different conversation than the one we were having this time a year ago.
No doubt. Woodhouse Auto Family is your trusted auto partner. They've got 20 brands, 20 convenient sales and service locations. We're making car buying on your terms. Go visit us online at woodhouse.com. When we come back, we'll talk some baseball. Will Bolt's going to stop by. We'll talk with the head coach next.
It's the Make It Ford Summer Sales Event at your Midwest Ford dealers. Get 0% financing or up to $4,250 bonus cash on F-150. Amazing offers and a great selection of the best-selling trucks in America for 47 years. Ford F-Series. These are the deals you've been waiting for, so don't wait. Make it Ford. Make it yours. Make it now. Get 0% financing for 36 months or up to $4,250 bonus cash on a new Ford F-150. Now, only at your Midwest Ford dealers.
Set, hike. When champions take the field, they come ready to play. TL Irrigation understands the value of momentum. Like a Husker drive, there's no stopping. If you live for farming and football like we do, TL Irrigation has you covered. Check your fields from the game with a remote system, or just enjoy the play, knowing our systems are reliable as a sold-out Memorial Stadium. Touchdown! Nebraska born, Nebraska strong. Husker Nation and TL Irrigation are like no other.
The 2024 Nebraska football season is here, and we need you to be a part of the Sea of Red Memorial Stadium this fall. A limited number of Husker football single-game tickets are on sale now and are only available while supplies last. Don't miss out on any of the action this season by getting yours before it's too late. To purchase your Husker football single-game tickets, visit huskers.com/tickets. Go Big Red.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Hurry up, dude. The game's about to start.
Nothing beats spending the day watching the game with your buddies.
Dude, I'm literally right here. Let's do this.
Which is why a shelter insurance renter's policy is key to your winning game plan. It protects things your landlord's policy doesn't.
Dude, where's your TV?
What? No way, dude.
Like that flat screen TV that just got stolen.
See shelter agents Jeff Bond or Reed Duvall in Lincoln, or Agent Victoria Watkins in Nebraska City.
On game day, every play counts. Now imagine having the same level of control in your field. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Real-time, play-by-play control means you're always ahead of the game. Score big with simplified irrigation technology from Valley, improving your life both on and off the field. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
It's the Make It Ford Summer Sales Event at your Midwest Ford dealers. Get 0% financing or up to $4,250 bonus cash on F-150. Amazing offers and a great selection of the best-selling trucks in America for 47 years. Ford F-Series. These are the deals you've been waiting for, so don't wait. Make it Ford. Make it yours. Make it now. Get 0% financing for 36 months or up to $4,250 bonus cash on a new Ford F-150. Now, only at your Midwest Ford dealers.
Set, hike. When champions take the field, they come ready to play. TL Irrigation understands the value of momentum. Like a Husker drive, there's no stopping. If you live for farming and football like we do, TL Irrigation has you covered. Check your fields from the game with a remote system, or just enjoy the play, knowing our systems are reliable as a sold-out Memorial Stadium. Touchdown! Nebraska born, Nebraska strong. Husker Nation and TL Irrigation are like no other.
Here in Nebraska, we love our teachers. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska is teaming up with Husker Athletics to recognize teachers who help students live their best and healthiest lives. Visit huskers.com/touchdown for teachers today to tell us about your favorite Nebraska educator. Winning teachers get a school day visit from Herbie Husker and a VIP experience at the 2025 Husker Football Spring Game, thanks to their biggest fans at Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska. Head to huskers.com/touchdown for teachers today.
Experience luxury car buying like never before with Genesis of Southwest Omaha. Right now, lease the 2024 Genesis G70 Sport Advanced all-wheel drive for just $499 per month. Get started online at southwestomahagenesis.com and shop our current offers happening right now. Or visit our showroom at Village Point today. 36 months, 10,000 miles per year with approved credit. Tax, title, license extra. $2,999 down plus first payment and $299 doc fee due at signing. Offer expires August 31st, 2024. See dealer for details.
Back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs solutions for every field. Well, what a treat for us tonight. It's been so long since we've had head baseball coach Will Bolt in with us on Sports Nightly. Great to see you. Hope you had a good summer, and congratulations on the new deal today.
Yeah, thank you. No, it's been a fun summer. Just some good fortune in the draft with both incoming players and our current roster, and certainly we want to see our guys have opportunities in the draft if they get it. But excited that guys have made decisions to stay here that probably could have gotten drafted, and Drew Christo and some other incoming players that set their numbers pretty high in the draft in terms of what we're going to have to basically be bought out from their experience here at Nebraska. So felt like we had some good fortune that way. Kind of a nice feeling to have once the draft was over, that we weren't having to scramble and try to fill some holes in. And, you look up after last season, and we've got I think 70% of our innings back on the mound and 65% of our at-bats back from last year. So a lot of experience back, but also a lot of competition. Guys coming in hungry and wanting to take that next step.
I know you don't want to spend a lot of time on your contract, but you get a new athletic director here several months ago. It has to be a good feeling for you to know that Troy was supportive of you and the program.
100%. And, you know, we've had some turnover in leadership, and Troy's done a wonderful job in a short amount of time. And I'd be remiss not to mention Dennis LeBlanc in this as well, because he's been a huge advocate for me, you know, dating all the way back to my days as a student athlete here, but in particular, just a huge support. So fortunate in that kind of that transition in leadership with Troy coming in. Dennis has worked on and off with baseball for the last few years, and he's been with us this year, and so he's been an advocate for us. So really appreciate, you know, what Dennis has brought, and Troy, very thankful for him to come in and appreciate what he saw when he got here. I think what he saw was that Husker fans really support baseball, and it was good timing, of course, for him to come in and us to win a championship and have a dog pile. And so, yeah, very fortunate that things worked out. This is where I want to be. This is dedicated most of my adult life to Husker baseball, and you know, it's just a great feeling.
One last thing on the draft, too. How happy were you for Josh Caron? I mean, we've had some fans who've texted in and goes, oh, he should have come back for one more year. But you got to use that leverage, don't you, at his age?
Of course, yeah. And he just a guy that we saw an immense talent from when he first got here. And, you know, everybody's development happens at a little bit different pace. And Josh, you start to see some signs from him early in his sophomore year that you thought, okay, well, this guy's got a chance to be something special. What I was really proud of him this year was the consistency that he showed, just being the same guy every day. He worked incredibly hard. He was stronger, as we saw at the end of the season, which is not easy to do offensively for a catcher who's caught as much as he did. So he really dedicated himself to the craft. And just, to me, what I'm most proud of is what he brought to the pitching staff this year. And Coach Childress really challenged him to be a servant to the pitching staff, and he did that in a huge way. He was behind him on every pitch. Just did a tremendous job back there setting the tone, and I think he's going to play baseball for a long time.
Good. We wish him good luck. You had a special moment back in June where you flew to Baltimore, and you had two of your former players facing off on the mound, Spencer Schwellenbach and Cade Povich. How cool a night was that for you?
It was amazing. I had a blast doing that, and I told them I was far more nervous just hanging on every single one of their pitches than I ever am sitting in the dugout, just because there's nothing you can really control with it. But really cool to be there and be part of that, and just to see the families. Both families were there, and the way the stars align. Cody Ashe, obviously a former player too as well. He's with Baltimore, and so got to see him. But it was just an amazing evening for baseball. Both the guys pitched great, and couldn't be prouder of both of those guys and what they've done this year. But it was an amazing night. Awesome ballpark. It's been years since I'd been there, and it was just a special evening.
Leads me to believe that 21 team had some talent, right?
I will say so. And looking back at it, you know, Spencer, obviously, he won the two-way Player of the Year award. Just to look back at his career and think about how little experience he has on the mound, and to see what he's doing at the big league level. I mean, he's throwing 6 pitches for a strike. It's amazing. And you could always tell that he had the talent and ability, an amazing shortstop, hitting the 3-hole for us. Very thankful for Coach Erstad. I told him that when we won the championship in 21. I said, hey, thanks for recruiting Spencer, because it made us look good this year. And obviously Povich being our first signee here at Nebraska, that was a cool deal. First team all-conference guy, a guy I think is going to pitch for a long time. And yeah, a lot of talent on that squad.
Well, you've had some fun stuff going on in the summer, and a lot of your current players have been out playing ball. And, boy, we're getting some unbelievable reports back. Tell us some of the highlights in your eyes of what guys have done this summer.
Yeah, we've had guys go out all the way to Alaska, where Tucker Timmerman and Ryan Harrell have pitched extremely well, all the way out in Alaska. They're finished up just this past week, and Guys up in Oregon competing and making all-star teams, and Tyner Horn, Clevenger's up there with him as well. And then the guys in the Northwoods League. You've got guys in North Dakota, Wisconsin, Minnesota. They're playing ball all summer. Butenbeck and Sanderson have just absolutely torn the cover off the baseball this spring, and they're probably going to be summer All-Americans. Both of their teams are still playing in the playoffs right now. Yeah, we've had some other guys that have done a really good job, coast to coast, just punched the clock and really made us proud.
And that's a valuable experience. We've seen so many guys. Brett Sears is a great example. Went off and had a great summer and then carried it over into the spring. Sometimes it doesn't always work that way, but sometimes it's good to get them those reps and at-bats.
It is, and guys gain an awful lot of confidence from that. And Dylan Carey being another that went out to the Cape. He went out on a temporary contract, and they ended up keeping him all the way till August 1st because he probably got snubbed from the All-Star team. I mean, he hit 300 for the whole season, played short, third, first base, kind of played all over the diamond for those guys. So, yeah, just you get those reps, that confidence. Guy like Butenbeck, who didn't play a lot as a freshman, he's going to get 300 plate appearances this summer. I mean, that's really hard to replicate. So Sanderson's going to come back with 400 plate appearances in a calendar year, and those guys are going to come back a year more experienced because of that.
And got to be confident. In the case of like Max, who just put up big numbers.
Yeah, and it's just good sometimes for you to get out on your own and just go kind of discover yourself and play with a little less, where the stakes are a little less high. You can work on some things. You can tweak some things if you need to, and those guys have gone out and done that. And every single report we've gotten from every single coach is that those guys are working their tails off, and it's really showed up on the field.
Have you been able to bring in some guys that you signed last November early? I think it's called the Bridge program you do here in Nebraska.
Yeah, we've had, I think, 10 or 11 guys came in, mostly all freshmen, a couple of transfers. It's a great way for them to come in, get some school under their belt. They get to start working out in the weight room. We're hands-off with them in terms of baseball, but they're able to do their schoolwork and their strength and conditioning piece of it, and it's just a really invaluable piece for those guys to really springboard into the fall where they're a lot more comfortable and confident going into it than they probably would have been had they not done that.
Did you hold anybody back from playing this summer and keep them here maybe because they overthrew during our season or whatever? Was anybody held back here?
We did. We had a pretty good group of guys, mainly pitchers, that we kept behind. Also Silva and Stone, two guys that played a lot. Stone really wanted to get to work in the weight room. Silva, bumps and bruises of playing every day, getting hit by 25 pitches. So we kept those guys here. A lot of the pitchers stayed behind that threw a lot, and they really continued to grow the bond and the chemistry over the course of the summer. So what we had a group of 10 or so freshmen that came in the early part of July, and they had a good group of 8 to 10 upperclassmen essentially that were here that could kind of start to show them the ropes. So you start to look at it, that's about half your roster that's here over the summer, while you got the other half going off and doing all the great things we talked about in summer ball. So a lot of different ways you can go about it. We do feel like summer ball is really important. We've talked about it at times on this show where incoming freshman hitters, we feel like it's really important for those guys to get college at-bats. A lot of guys have done that. Obviously, guys that hadn't played a lot went off and played in the summer, and then these group of guys that have a lot of experience under their belt, they're here continuing to build that culture this summer.
We're here talking ball with head baseball coach Will Bolt here on Sports Nightly on the Huskers Radio Network. How quickly do you jump into fall ball now? We've got school starting, I think it's the 26th, still a week or two away from now. What's the schedule look like?
Yeah, we jump right into it. We'll actually start on September 2nd with official fall practice, and that'll take us into the middle of October. We like to start right away. Obviously, we try to beat the weather on the back end of it, but once the fall break hits, it's usually that second or third week in October. We want to try to wrap up before then so the guys can have that break, hit the reset button, so then they're ready to go finish strong in the weight room and with individual groups and that type of thing. So that's just the way it falls. We get 6 weeks and we'll scrimmage typically 4 days a week this fall.
Fantastic. And we'll have more information about that as it comes out for the red, white, and all that moving down the road. Not only was your contract announced today, but also some staff additions. Tell us about that. I know you have a new director of ops. You've got a new strength coach coming in.
Yeah, so I'll start with Cole Evans.
There's a familiar name.
Krev. He's been a mainstay in the outfield for us. We had a conversation during the season. He said, "Hey, Coach, I'd like to stick around and help you guys out next year." And much like Gunnar Hellstrom and Caleb Feakin have done the past few years, so really excited to have him. It's great to have that former player kind of bridge the gap there with your current roster. And he's really he spent an entire summer last summer at Driveline, and he learned an awful lot about the swing and some player development type stuff that he's going to help bring on the coaching side of things for us this year. So excited about him. We have Garrett Plumley's joined us. He was with the Milwaukee Brewers. He's going to be our strength coach. He spent 3 years at TCU as an intern under who's widely considered one of the best baseball strength guys in the country, in Zach Deschamps. Highly recommended. He's come in and done a nice job with our guys already at the beginning of this summer, and look forward to what he's going to bring to the program. And Derek Roy is our new director of player development. Essentially what he's going to be is our pitching development director. So he'll be he's really strong in the data and analytics piece of it. He's very well versed in the biomechanics side of it. And he's helped out in a variety of different ways, most recently in summer ball with Trey Fromm. Trey went out to the Coastal Plains League. He was Trey's pitching coach this summer. Came highly recommended by Trey. Trey said this coach would be a really good fit, if he checks the boxes of what you're looking for. So he came highly recommended as well. He's going to do a nice job really assisting Coach Childress with some things on the pitching side. Connor Behrens will return as our director of operations, and he'll kind of take over more of the hitting development side.
Fantastic. So new faces in the office.
That's right.
Over there.
Yep.
New faces in the office, new faces to the league. How about this conference expanding with those teams from the West Coast coming in now?
Yeah, I think you're going to just continue to see the brand of baseball elevated with the addition of these teams, and awfully excited about that. I'm going to add some conference games to the schedule, which is going to be a good thing, hopefully, for the RPI, and some trips out west again that we haven't taken for a few years.
And takes a little bit of pressure off scheduling. Scheduling's hard to get all those non-conference series locked in. So if you have fewer weekends to have to fill, maybe it makes the job a little easier.
Yeah, and we were fortunate last year that the teams that you played. That you scheduled, they had good seasons. We saw it the year before where some teams didn't play as well as you had hoped. So like you said, now that there's essentially 2 less weekends that we've got to schedule non-conference, where it's less of a crapshoot that way. So it'll help out that way, and really excited once we do announce our schedule. It is going to be extremely challenging, exciting home schedule, I think, for our fans, and something that we're looking forward to.
Well, fantastic. Love all this information. It's been the moment. You can sense the momentum, Coach, in the program, and I know you guys do as well. And let's just keep this thing rolling.
That's right. Let's do it.
Good. Will Bolt with us here on Sports Night. We're back with more of the show coming up next.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out, because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-783-8055. That's 800-783-8055. 800-783-8055.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Here in Nebraska, we love our teachers. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska is teaming up with Husker Athletics to recognize teachers who help students live their best and healthiest lives. Visit huskers.com/touchdown for teachers today to tell us about your favorite Nebraska educator. Winning teachers get a school day visit from Herbie Husker and a VIP experience at the 2025 Husker football spring game, thanks to their biggest fans at Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska. Head to huskers.com/touchdown for teachers today.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Dear Truckin' Awesome. Want more horsepower in the stable? The Tundra iForce Max is the most powerful Tundra ever. With its electrifying twin-turbo V6, you got everything you need. Saddle up the Tacoma TRD Pro. Its segment-first performance seats are designed to smooth out the shocks when the ride gets bumpy. The Toyota 4Runner is part mean streak, part wild side, and an all-around icon. Check out that signature power rear window, will ya? Yes, sir, Toyota trucks. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
See your Omaha Metro and Lincoln Toyota dealers. Corwin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, Baxter Toyota of La Vista, or Baxter Toyota of Lincoln.
When you're in the stands and have the ability to control your irrigation in the field, it's a game-changing moment. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Experience real-time, play-by-play action and control that keeps you ahead. Score big with irrigation technology from Valley. It's technology that improves your life and lets you be at the game and in the game. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Elevate your journey and command the road like never before with a new vehicle from Woodhouse GMC. Plus, with our current offers going on now, you'll save even more. Receive up to $9,000 off MSRP on the 2024 GMC Sierra 1500. Woodhouse GMC, we are professional grade. With approved credit, tax, title, license extra. Must have 2010 or newer trade-in to qualify. Offer applies to select stock numbers. $299 doc fee due at signing. Offer expires September 3rd, 2024. See dealer for details.
Pickup truck, sports car, motorcycle, minivan, townhouse, two-story, farmhouse, fixer-upper. What you drive and where you live is different for everyone, so it's important to have insurance that fits your needs and is just right for you. At Shelter Insurance, we understand that, which is why our agents help you design a comprehensive auto, home, and life insurance plan. Insurance that fits just right.
See Shelter Agent Mike Shepard or Craig Kerr in Lincoln or Agent Jeff Martinez in Omaha today.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, sponsored by Akrs. They are the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody back with you here on a Tuesday night. Hope you enjoyed my conversation with Will Bolt. A lot in there. It's really cool to hear guys going up to the Northwoods League or out to the Cape Cod or up to Alaska. What a great experience to go do that. And guys playing really good baseball, and some of them didn't play a lot for the Big Red last spring, so a chance and an opportunity for them to hone their skills. There's a lot of momentum in that program moving forward, and so, and Jess, we say that about a lot of programs at Huskers right now, and I think that's why everybody feels pretty good about the state of this department.
Yeah, I think, for me, every coach that I've chatted with, and I'm sure you feel the same way. Just they're feeding off of each other. It's a great camaraderie, but it's everybody's at their best when everybody's at their best, right? And so you want to see the other program succeed, and so yeah, you could definitely feel the momentum. There's no doubt about it, and it's exciting. Hopefully, again, continue to raise the standard and you live up to that, but it's definitely exciting. There's a lot of momentum going into this fall and leading into this entire year.
And I think a lot of the student athletes are really excited about the building you can see to your left, and that's the Osborne Complex, because they're going to be in there a lot. It's not just football. And obviously, that's the home of football, but academics is in there, compliance is in there, the training table is in there where they're all going to eat. And I think, that fires those athletes up. And it's also really convenient for them to slip in there and get off to their classes on campus. They don't have to walk through the stadium. Not that that's the worst thing you have to do, but I think that adds to it. I mean, they see that the athletic department has invested more money back in them for these beautiful facilities. I think I'm sure a lot of those athletes can't wait to get a big full tour of that new facility.
Yeah, and again, the training table I've heard is just immaculate, and that's just such a big part of this culture on the entire campus, the student athletes being able to dine together, and it's always a cool thing to see and observe when you go in there and seeing the different athletes interacting. And so, yeah, really nice. I know I've seen volleyball in and out of there, but yeah, it's incredible. It is absolutely mind-blowing. And a lot of the recruits that come in have talked about that and made note of that, because in the day and age that we're in and where we're moving towards in rev share, probably not a lot of programs are going to invest in buildings the way like this. I mean, certainly they'll continue to have upgrades and all of that, but I don't know how many programs will have something like this moving forward, just because of the day and age that we're in and how you're going to manage that revenue to be able to give to student athletes.
Yeah, you may not be seeing as much brick and mortar being done on athletic campuses in the future, because they're going to have to save money to pay these athletes. So it's going to change the dynamics of things. Speaking of volleyball, John Cook will meet with the media tomorrow, late afternoon. We'll be able to clip some of that up and play it for you tomorrow night here on Sports On. I really haven't heard from the coach since they began practice back on the 5th, so they're 9 days into it now. So I'm sure that they've made progress as they get ready to head toward their season. So we'll have some of that. We'll also preview soccer's opener tomorrow night. We'll hear from their goalkeeper, Sammy Hauk, as they get ready. The 6th-ranked Cornhuskers get ready to begin their season. And President Gold is going to make an appearance on Sports On. He took over July the 1st. We've not had him on since he took away the interim tag and is now the full-time guy. Actually, he wasn't even the interim. He was the president however they term that, future president or whatever. So Jeffrey Gold will be on the program tomorrow night. So we have a full boat headed your way tomorrow night on Sports Nightly. Went long in the last segment, but it was worth it. Need to take a break, come back and wrap up tonight's show next.
Discover a better car buying experience with Woodhouse Hyundai during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Right now, lease the 2024 Hyundai Palisade SEL for just $449 a month. When you shop Woodhouse Hyundai, you can rest easy with Hyundai Shopper Assurance, America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Get started online at woodhousehyundai.com today. 36 months, 10,000 miles per year with approved credit. Tax, title, license, extra, first payment, and $299 doc fee due at signing. Offer expires September 3rd, 2024. See dealer for details.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm broadcasting major Macy Byers with Campus News. Computer science student Luke Ferreter won a global competition for being the first to decode passages from an ancient scroll. Using advanced AI, Ferreter became the first in centuries to reveal words from a Greek scroll damaged in the eruption of Mount Vesuvius nearly 2,000 years ago. The Lincoln native earned a $700,000 cash prize and international recognition for his achievements.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Here in Nebraska, we love our teachers. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska is teaming up with Husker Athletics to recognize teachers who help students live their best and healthiest lives. Visit huskers.com/touchdown for teachers today to tell us about your favorite Nebraska educator. Winning teachers get a school day visit from Herbie Husker and a VIP experience at the 2025 Husker Football Spring Game, thanks to their biggest fans at Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska. Head to huskers.com/touchdown for teachers today.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your basement and damaging your home. Mold, cracks, and of course visible water are just a few signs your basement is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
402-413-2400 if you want to make a last push to get on the program. A couple of minutes left here on the show tonight. We talked about Michigan football the other night and kind of tired of their whole thing with the sign stealing, and Harbaugh did get punished last year, and he's been punished, given a show cause with the NCAA for the next 4 years. Michigan's been a little tone deaf in some of this. I will say I was kind of trying to defend them a little bit the other night, but they had lined up Jim Harbaugh to come back for their opener against Fresno State on the 31st to be the honorary captain. They were going to obviously celebrate their national championship game. It's too soon. It's way too soon. And in fact, they've backtracked now. He's not going to come. He says he needs to stay with the Chargers and get ready for the start of their season, so he won't be there. But that probably sounded like a good idea in May to bring him back to celebrate the national title, but with all the NCAA things, it's just too soon, and they can do that way down the road with Jim Harbaugh. So they've done a reverse on that. They open against Fresno State on the 31st, and they're kind of flying under the radar. I think they're ranked 8th or 9th. The AP poll came out yesterday, but they lost so much, Jess. I mean, J.J. McCarthy, we mentioned earlier in the show. I know they probably still have a bunch of depth, but I don't think they repeat as national champs. I think I'm safe to say they're not going to repeat as national champs.
You also just don't know with the new coach and how that's going to transition and what they're going to, are they changing everything? What's it going to look like? But losing a veteran quarterback, I don't know what's harder to overcome, losing your coach or a veteran quarterback, you know?
Probably the quarterback, in all honesty, because most of the staff stayed there. Obviously, Harbaugh is the big piece of it, but Sharon Moore kept a lot of the guys that were on the staff there. So they have a lot of the same people coordinating position groups, all that type of thing, which that's smart. You should. If you've got a really good product going, you don't want to upset the apple cart too much. But, so yeah, Michigan and Harbaugh will not be attending that game against Fresno State at the Big House on the 31st. Nebraska does not play Michigan this year. That's okay. We don't play Penn State. I think that's good, too. I think they're going to be really good. And we don't play Oregon. I think that's really good, too. So, as again, you look ahead to the Huskers schedule, it kind of lays out pretty nice for the Big Red here tonight. I hear Mama Coody's coming to town. That'll be fun, huh?
She is. She's checked in on the chat earlier. I'm surprised. I was surprised to see her. She's waiting to board her flight. So she's catching the late-night flight to Omaha. I'm going to run and pick her up, Sonny and me. So she's going to spend a few days here. They originally were not going to come back until the Colorado game, but, you know, they missed me too much. So she's going to come up and spend some time here. And I think she's going to go to we have a partner event on Thursday night, so she's going to go with me there. And so, yeah.
Yeah, she should. We've got a little, what we call a signage party, people that advertise with Playfly and have signs and video messaging inside the stadium. They come and they make sure it looks good. They get to see what their screens are going to look like. And then they're going to hear from some student athletes. You're going to MC that. And I know Juwan Gary, Allison Widener, Ava Bredwell are some of the ones that are going to be there, Drew Christo. So that'll be a fun event for the clients. You're going to be working that. I'm headed to Kansas City to do a speaking engagement down there that night. So, hey, we're going to the bullpen. Matt Coatney will be in the hot seat for us on Thursday night, but I think he'll survive. I think he can do 2 hours of radio, probably with his hands tied behind his back and his eyes closed.
Yes, and with no guests, he could probably get it done. So he does have we have a couple guests lined up for him, and I know he's got a fun guest, so it should be a fun show. And so I know he's excited about it, looking forward to it. Sam in Omaha said, does Sonny like Grandma Coody? So she goes by Gigi, and Sonny knows Gigi, and in fact, she might love Gigi more than me. So, yes.
Wow.
Sonny, when I bring up the name Gigi, Sonny goes nuts, and she'll be excited to see her tonight.
Nice. Well, have a safe trip up to get your mom. Everybody have a great night. We're back to do this all again tomorrow night. Full 2 hours headed your way. Thanks to Camden. Have a good night.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
On game day, every play counts. Now imagine having the same level of control in your field. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Real-time, play-by-play control means you're always ahead of the game. Score big with simplified irrigation technology from Valley, improving your life both on and off the field. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Experience luxury and performance at Woodhouse Lincoln. Receive 0% APR for 60 months on the 2024 Lincoln Navigator. From selecting the perfect vehicle to securing the best financing options, our team is here to assist you every step of the way. Come visit Woodhouse Lincoln at 144th and Giles Road or online at woodhouselincoln.com and explore all our current offers going on now. With approved credit, $299 doc fee due at signing. Offer expires 8/31/2024. See dealer for details.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm broadcasting major Macy Byers with Campus News. A surgical robot developed by UNL professor Shane Ferreter has received FDA approval, paving the way for greater access to advanced medical procedures in rural areas. The FDA approval followed a successful test of the robot aboard the International Space Station in February. The test involved months of preparation for UNL faculty and students working in close collaboration with NASA to launch and deliver the robot.
Husker fans, the 2024 Nebraska football season is right around the corner, and we need your support in Memorial Stadium this fall. You can now purchase a Husker football 3-game mini plan for only $170. This plan includes tickets to UTEP or Northern Iowa, plus Illinois or Rutgers, and either UCLA or Wisconsin. Tickets are only available while supplies last. To purchase your Husker